Return of the book. And when you come off a 49-point loss, not a moment too soon. Book, as I said last week, we need you. So I've got my Devin Booker Sunburst jersey on. I've got the background of Devin Booker as a Sith Lord, Revenge of the Suns. To take some revenge on these teams, we need to get Devin Booker back. And it sounds like we will tomorrow. We have not had an official update yet on Devin Booker or Jalen Green, but we've had Flex from Jersey come out on Twitter and say Devin Booker will play Sunday and Jalen is right around the corner. Thank goodness, because after that game against OKC, I don't know if I could take another one versus Booker. We do have Dwayne, the beat reporter, saying the Book is now doing everything in practice. So he should be good to go tomorrow, and we will definitely need him. It was another up and down week, only 2 games. We had the win versus Minnesota and then the loss versus OKC. Minnesota, it was really great. We beat a good playoff team without Devin Booker and Jalen Green, our starting backcourt. Another close game against Minnesota. It was nice to see Mark Williams being the leading scorer with 22 points. I think that's the first time he's been the leading scorer for the Suns. And, he's doing it in still pretty limited minutes. So it's great to see how well the big fella is playing and how well he's impacting the game. Gillespie also had 19 in that game. And, then we had to play the Thunder in the Cup. And brutal loss, 49 points, set the record for the worst Suns loss in franchise history. We had lost by 48 before, but now we've lost by 49. We had a good start against the Thunder, even without Devin Booker. But by the middle of the second quarter, the wheels just completely came off. The only starters that could hit double figures were Dylan Brooks and Grayson. But Brooks was 4 for 16 and Grayson was 3 for 9. That's not going to get it done. You did have Goodwin getting 15 points in 19 minutes and Jamari Bouye getting another 14 points. Then in garbage time, you had Fleming coming in with 10 minutes and 7 points. And then Kaman also played 10 minutes and got 2 points and 3 rebounds. But we're now 0-2 against the Thunder. They're really killing every team. It looks like they're going to set the NBA record for most wins. And I don't know if anyone can take these guys down. They definitely are not a good matchup for the Suns. But, that's okay. You can't win them all. And we did have that good win against Minnesota. It was a 1-1 week without Devin Booker. So, you can't complain too much about that. And obviously, Book is coming back. And so let's take a look at this week's Sunderous Dunk.
Early, but not many good looks of late. Mark Williams pulls from 3. Yes, sir, big fella.
What was that? A Sunderous Dunk doesn't have to be a dunk? Yes, that's right. You can dunk on your opponent in many ways, and it does not have to be a slam dunk. Mark Williams hit his first career three-pointer. That is a Sunderous Dunk. And I don't know if Mark Williams is going to become a three-point shooter all of a sudden, but he definitely does everything else. And so definitely got to give it up to the big fellow this week. And so let's move into our stock report. So who's going to be our stock up? It's a little bit tough this week, but the first 2 stock ups I'm going to give are to Kaman Malawach and Rasheer Fleming. They are playing well in the G League. And I'm also going to do the Suns Twitter shout out right here. This comes from @DevinBookerMuse. And he tweeted out that Kaman Malawach in the G League tonight 22 points, 19 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 8 for 11 shooting in 32 minutes. Devin Booker Muse also tweeted out that Malawach is now averaging 16 points a game in the G League, 11.8 rebounds, and 2.8 blocks, while Fleming is averaging 16.5 points a game, 8.3 rebounds a game, and 1.5 steals a game. So Fleming and Malawach are definitely getting it done in the G League. They're showing they're too good for the G League competition. Now the next step is obviously to do it in the games with the Suns. But the sky's still a limit for these guys. And I definitely think the Suns drafted well this year, and we will see these guys having an effect for the Suns at some point, hopefully this year, but certainly in their careers. And so thank you, Devin Booker Muse, for that great tweet and the great stuff that you're providing on Suns Twitter. Also going to give a stock up this week to Oso Ighodaro. He is now back to being our main backup center. He played 19 minutes in both games. He's averaging about eight points and 5 rebounds lately with good defense. He's been giving us a strong backup center that can do a little bit of it all as long as the other team doesn't hack him, which for some reason they're still not doing. So hopefully Oso will keep playing well. But who is going to be the stock down this week? So the first stock down, I think, obviously has to be Nick Richards. Other than garbage time, he's completely out of the rotation. He's on the trade block. When he was playing, he looked like one of the worst players in the NBA. No basketball IQ at all. Constantly in the wrong place. Constantly making stupid fouls. And he didn't look this bad last year, but it seems like he's just completely forgotten how to play basketball. It definitely looks like he will be traded and probably not get much in return. So, enjoy those Nick Richards garbage time minutes while you still can. Second stock down, I'm going to give to Ryan Dunn. He's playing about 20 minutes a game. Other than dunks, he can't make anything. He's barely scoring. In the Minnesota game, he was 1 for 8. His defense has been okay, but Ryan Dunn is definitely in a little bit of a dip right now. I'm still a big believer in Ryan, though, and so I hope that he will get back to affecting the game in a lot of different ways soon. The third and final stock down, going to get slightly controversial with this one, but I'm going to give it to Colin Gillespie. Last week and the last couple of weeks, he had the stonks. He was so high with his stock. He was at the top of the scouting report. And then he comes out and goes 1 for 5 versus OKC with 3 turnovers and 2 points. So Gillespie, your stock is still high, but it's a little bit down from what it's been. And, Colin, they're really focusing on him now with the defense, pressuring him more. We'll see how he can handle it going forward. Even when Book and Jalen are both back, we're going to need Colin to keep playing better than he did versus OKC. So how about the team stock? Right now, the record is 14-11. We're still in 7th place. We've still got a lot of coaches talking about how hard the Suns play. Mark Daigneault, Steve Kerr, JJ Redick, all talking about how well coached the Suns are and how they leave it all on the floor. So what about this week? We have 2 games coming up this week before we podcast next. The next 4 will be against the Lakers and the Warriors, but just 2 games before we podcast next. Both games at home. First, we play the Lakers. The Lakers are still 4th in the Western Conference. We took the belt to ass last time, but that was when LeBron was struggling. His last 2 games, LeBron is averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists. So we'll see if we can hold the king down. There is a calf strain for Reeves, so he's going to miss the game. So with Devin Booker back and Reeves not playing, I definitely think the Suns will win this game at home, and that's on Sunday. And then on Thursday they'll play the Warriors. They are right behind us in 8th place. After our big loss, the Warriors now have a better point differential than us. We only have a plus 0.4 point differential, and the Warriors have a plus 1.4 point differential. They are 4-6 in their last 10 games, but they've had a very tough schedule. They're losing to good teams. The big storyline for the Warriors lately is that Jonathan Kuminga is a DNP in his last couple of games. They've also been giving DNPs to guys like Steph Curry. But, Kuminga was really putting up numbers earlier in the year. But his last game that he played, he went out in 22 minutes and he had 1 for 10 shooting. And he is just on the trade block. He's the most likely player to be traded. It looks like Kerr is just done with him. He does not want him in throwing up bricks. He doesn't believe in his team defense. And the relationship between him and Kuminga is totally broken. Should the Suns go for a player like Kuminga? I don't really think so. I don't think they're going to make a big trade like that at all. If they did, I'd rather see him go for a guy like Bobby Portis, who I think is a little bit better fit, a little bit better three-point shooter, and might fit into the team concept and defense a little bit better. But, I think they're probably going to make smaller moves around the edges. The Warriors have also had Horford out for the last couple of games. I don't know if he's going to be playing against the Suns, but they've had guys playing over 20 minutes like Will Richard, Pat Spencer, and Gui Santos. Who are these guys? I've never heard of any of these guys playing for the Warriors. Pat Spencer is a guard who's actually averaged double figures in 5 straight games now. But, I'm not afraid of this guy. With Devin Booker back, the Warriors in a little bit of disarray, going to make a trade soon, probably within the next couple of months at least. I've got to predict a Suns win at home. I've got to predict a 2-0 week this week with Booker returning for both games and Jalen Green probably coming back next week right around Christmas. So let's have a great 2-0 week. Let's wash out that stain of the OKC game, and let's see Suns up.